It's Friday night. Say yeah for it's another edition of Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. Anthony Flair here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Joined tonight by Michael Bullock. Unfortunately, good old MF Michael Fletcher will not be with us this evening. Not sure if it's work commitments beyond his control or if it's a special commitment or something, but unfortunately, MF will not be joining us this evening. So, with all that being said, let's get into the docket for this week. The big trade. Well, NBA and LA. It's going to be fun to watch this fall. And it's going to start with the Los Angeles Clippers. They acquired a superstar forward late Saturday night, just hours before the end of the free agency moratorium. The forward grew up in California, and when he grew dissatisfied with the team that drafted him, it was no secret he wanted to go home. That plan became complicated, though, when he was traded elsewhere and had a much better time than he had expected to. The Clippers needed everything to line up perfectly in order to get him. We're talking, of course, about Paul George, who asked the Oklahoma City Thunder to trade him to the Clippers after Kawhi Leonard had pitched him on teaming up in LA, per Adrian Wojnarowski. Leonard will sign with the Clippers as a free agent, immediately creating a new Western Conference superpower. Oklahoma City will reportedly receive an enormous bounty in exchange for George. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, not to be confused with SmackDown referee Danilo Amphibio, 4 unprotected first-round picks, a protected first-round pick, and 2 pick swaps. I love it. Now, in a vacuum, this is not an A-plus trade. Much like the Lakers trade for Anthony Davis, the Clippers surrendered an obscene amount of picks, essentially punting on the draft for the foreseeable future. They likely had a difficult time parting with Gilgeous-Alexander, a 6'6 guard who has a 6'11.5 wingspan and will turn 21 this week. George is not quite on Davis's level, but the difference is that the Clippers knew that this trade would lure Leonard. Oklahoma City knew that as well, which allowed Sam Presti's front office to drive a hard bargain, even with George wanting out. All those picks were the cost of 2 superstars, not 1. By acquiring Leonard and George, the Clippers stole the show from the Brooklyn Nets, who successfully recruited Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in free agency. Just like the Nets, there is risk involved for the Clippers because of their incoming stars' respective injury histories. If they are healthy, though, LA should be perennial championship contenders throughout their primes. Leonard is 28, George is 29, and both of them are all-world defenders who can score from everywhere and will make each other better. This is a dream scenario for the Clippers, who in recent days had to consider the possibility of signing 0 marquee free agents, bringing back Gallinari, and staying opportunistic about adding elite talent after obsessing over Leonard all season. The beauty of pairing Leonard and George is that there shouldn't be a power struggle. Leonard can be the Clippers' leading scorer on most nights, and George is comfortable being option 1B. This trade was absolutely stunning at the moment, but it shouldn't be a surprise that the reigning Finals MVP would want to play with another proven playoff performer who can defend multiple positions, stretch the floor, and carry the offense when Leonard sits. The Clippers had to give up a whole lot of stuff to make it happen, but it is still incredible that they pulled it off. Just 2 years ago, the Clippers traded Chris Paul to the Houston Rockets. In early 2018, they traded Blake Griffin to the Detroit Pistons. Who would have thought they'd have a better pair of franchise players by now? Amazing. So, nothing really more to say on this. Michael Bullock, come on in. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George to the Clippers. Like I said, basketball, NBA and LA this year is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, basketball in LA is definitely going to be fun. I mean, it certainly got a lot of fun with the announcement of Kawhi Leonard going, that he was going to sign with the LA Clippers. And, of course, not with Paul George joining the fray as well. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see how who's going to be more popular in LA this season. Will it be the Clippers or the Lakers? Because both teams certainly made a lot of moves. So, and a lot of people think they're going to make the playoffs, but whether that happens or not, that remains to be seen. But I certainly like this. I mean, hey, Kawhi Leonard finally got what he wanted. He wanted to go to LA, just not the other team. But hey, that's definitely gonna get a lot of seats at the Staples Center this upcoming season for the Clippers. And yeah, can Kawhi Leonard and Paul George bring bring the Clippers back to the playoffs again? Just gonna have to wait and find out. But I really like these moves. So yeah, this was basically their way of telling the Lakers, "Oh, so you went out and got Anthony Davis. So yeah, we're gonna top it off with this." So yeah, so there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So Flora, let's move on to our next docket.
And it's the other LA team, the Lakers. They got they got Danny Green and DeMarcus Cousins. And here's the backstory on that. For a second consecutive season, DeMarcus Cousins is taking a short-term deal with hopes of winning an NBA title, this time alongside LeBron James. Cousins, a four-time All-Star, has agreed to sign a one-year, $2.3 million deal with the Lakers. A person familiar with the negotiations told USA Today Sports. The person was granted anonymity because they were not authorized to speak about the deal, which has not been finalized. The 28-year-old center spent last season with the Golden State Warriors. Also, the Lakers reached agreement with three-point shooting ace Danny Green on a two-year, $30 million deal, as well as guard Quinn Cook. The move brings even more star power to LA. The Lakers, of course, already acquiring Anthony Davis in a trade with the New Orleans Pelicans earlier this summer. And the Clippers, of course, as we just talked about, added Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in a stunning series of moves. Bullock again, I say, NBA and LA, not just the Clippers, but the Lakers are going to be fun. I mean, you talk about Leonard and George going to the Clippers. Look who the Lakers now have. You got LeBron, you got Anthony Davis, and now you've added Danny Green and DeMarcus Cousins. Wow.
Yeah, so they basically went out and got Danny Green, like you said, and he just came off of helping the Toronto Raptors winning an NBA championship, and we know what he did with the San Antonio Spurs. So I like this addition here. So he brings a lot of experience, especially playoff experience. So and them getting DeMarcus Cousins, I mean, they needed a big guy in there, and definitely this is definitely going to help out. I mean, I was surprised with DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, I thought after the 1-year deal that he signed with the Golden State Warriors, just to prove himself after coming off of that torn Achilles, I thought maybe he would sign a much longer deal. But I think he only wanted to sign a 1-year deal just to see how he could do fully healthy. For a full season. So yeah, I mean, first you get Anthony Davis to join LeBron James, and then now you add Danny Green and DeMarcus Cousins. So yeah, I mean, LA's looking to really get back to the promised land that they haven't been to in quite a while, to say the very least. So so like we said earlier, basketball in LA is going to be a lot of fun to watch this upcoming season. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
Well, DeMarcus Cousins can absolutely outplay his contract value, reportedly $3.5 million. The question here isn't about talent. It's about health and his willingness to accept the role that best fits the team. The Lakers' best lineups will likely have LeBron James at the 4 and Davis at the 5. So where that leaves Cousins, as well as JaVale McGee, is a legitimate question. As for Danny Green, he will offer the kind of shooting the Lakers lacked last season. He's coming off a campaign where he was among the league leaders in offensive and net rating. 117.7 and 13.4 respectively. And should his 46% three-point shooting carry over from last year, Green will probably likely be the team's starting shooting guard. More notable than any one player here, though, is the plan the Lakers apparently had and executed as soon as they found out Kawhi Leonard wasn't coming. This goes to show they entered the offseason with a preliminary plan and also had a viable backup in case free agency didn't play out optimally. Are the Lakers as good now as they would have been had Leonard signed? Of course not. But they are undeniably better than last year. And unlike last season, this roster at least kind of makes sense. We'll see what other moves are still on the way as the buyout and eventual trade markets take form. But for now, this is very much a team Laker fans can look forward to watching. So that's really all I have to say about that. So with all that being said, let's move on to the next item on our docket here. This past Sunday, right around brunch time, if you will, the United States women's national team, they did it again for the second straight tournament. They win the FIFA Women's World Cup. Absolutely dominated from start to finish, to the tune of a very special ESPY award, which we'll get into in our main event tonight. But nonetheless, Team USA, they get it done. And let's just run it down. I mean, they of course it was held in France, as we all know. And it started on June 11th, a 13-0 beatdown of Thailand. And then a 3-0 win over Chile. And then a 2-0 win over Sweden. And then when we got to the bracket, 2-1 win over Spain on June 24th, and then a 2-1 win over the host country, France, on June 28th. And then on July 2nd, a 2-1 win over England. And then in the championship game, a 2-0 win over the Netherlands. Megan Rapinoe with a penalty kick goal. And then Lavelle put it home. And that was Rose Lavelle, I should say. And that was all she wrote. And Megan Rapinoe, of course, winning the prestigious Golden Boot Award, as well as the Golden Ball. She had 6 goals and 3 assists in 428 minutes played. And that was the story. Very, very exciting, obviously. They secured their record 4th Women's World Cup and became the second nation after Germany to have successfully retained. So that's 4 now overall. This year, their epic win in 2015, equally epic win in 99, and the other, I believe, was in 91. And they now have won more Women's World Cups than anybody. So congratulations to them. And what else can you say? I mean, a lot has been made about the pay thing, which they should be paid more. I agree, 100%. They deserve it. And it was just an absolutely incredible performance. And let me just sum it up by saying this. Since 1991, there have been 7 Women's World Cups, and the USA has won 4 of them. They have never finished worse than 3rd at the World Cup. how did the U.S. women become a soccer powerhouse, while the men still seem a long way from realistically competing for a World Cup title of their own? The answer is complicated, and in some ways, the growth of women's soccer is a microcosm of the fight for gender equality. Of course, we all know about the Title IX situation. It can't solely be attributed to that, but just excuse me 1 minute. We got a video, pop-up video. Okay. There's little question. I mean, of course, you can't blame it really on the Title IX. By 1991, the year of the first Women's World Cup, there were more than 120,000 women playing high school soccer, more than a 17,000% increase in the number of players. The Americans' victory in '99 was also pivotal for the women's game and captivated several 99ers like Mia Hamm, Randy Chastain, and others to mainstream superstardom. The growth of women's soccer in the U.S. has only continued in the years since. At last count, there are now more than 390,000 women playing at the high school level, making it the fourth most popular sport. It was and still is this huge base of youth soccer players and investment in developing players that has helped feed talent to the U.S. women's national team. With this fourth World Cup, we should enjoy it while we can. I mean, there are signs that the rest of the world might be catching up. At the international level, the stiffest competition lately for the American women, it came from the Netherlands, Sweden, and England. But, I mean, that's really all there is to say about that. They continue to be inspirations. They inspire all these young women around the world. They captured the Best Team Award at the ESPY Awards, and rightfully so. And we'll get more into it when we cross that line. But all I know is just makes you proud to be an American. That's all there is to say on that. I mean, they are far better than the men, and I don't know what else there is to say. So, while I figure something out, we'll get more into it when we cross it to the ESPY Awards, because they won the best team, and we'll get more into it then. So, but for right now, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on Team USA winning the FIFA Women's World Cup.
Man, what can you say about the Team USA women's team? I mean, they did it again. I mean, the absolute domination all throughout this tournament, and showing you why they have been, shall we say, Florio, far and away better than the U.S. men's national team. I mean, yeah, don't get me going with that nonsense that the U.S. men's team is going through. I mean, now you see, men, you men's soccer team, that's how it's done. That's why the USA women's team have been more successful than you guys have been, and until the men's team can figure out how to fix this problem, they're never going to win another World Cup. And you know what, Florio? I'll even take it a step further. They will never be in another World Cup. I mean, especially after not qualifying. So, until I see changes, the U.S. women's team will be far and away better than the men's team. So, yeah, I mean, and what can you say? I mean, Megan Rapinoe, Alex Morgan leading the way for the team, and Rapinoe had certainly had one heck of a tournament. That's why she got the Golden Boot Award. So, yeah, congratulations to the U.S. Women's national team winning another World Cup, adding to their legacy. So, yeah, there's nothing really more that needs to be said. So, let's just move on. And I think we're going to talk about what happened during All-Star Week.
Well, I just found some stuff here about the but I wanted to add to my thought about the women's team.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I do have it. Since the team's opening match of the tournament against Thailand, a lot of records were broken on the field of the host country, France. From having the largest margin of victory in a single game to scoring the most goals in the entire series altogether, plus Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe's iconic memes, there's no shortage of celebratory news for the U.S. team. They set a record for the most goals scored in a single Women's World Cup match. They started it off with a bang on June 11th, defeating Team Thailand 13-0. The group stage match in Reims, France had the most goals in a single game in a World Cup for both men and women. And some people criticized the team for taking such a big lead, but in a tournament in which goal differential matters, the U.S. didn't lose its stride. They also had the highest margin of victory in one soccer match. That 13-0 defeat of Thailand, also the highest margin of victory in both women's and men's World Cup history. The previous record was by Germany, beating Argentina 11-0 in a similar shutout in 2007. The men's side is pretty far behind with a record victory margin of only 9-0. Yugoslavia and Hungary beat Zaire, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and South Korea, respectively, by the same margin. Alex Morgan scores the most goals in a single women's game. Co-captain Alex Morgan tied for the most individual goals in a single Women's World Cup in the group stage matchup with Thailand. The forward scored 5 goals in the game, tying her with a record previously set by Michelle Akers, also a U.S. forward in 1991. Head coach Jill Ellis, the first coach to win 2 World Cup titles. Jill Ellis became the first women's coach ever to win 2 World Cups in soccer history. This feat has only been achieved by Italy's men's coach Vittorio Pozzo in 1934 and 1938. And in 2015, of course, Ellis was named the FIFA World Coach of the Year. And they also set a record for the most consecutive World Cup tournament wins. With 2 consecutive wins, the U.S. is now tied with Germany, who won in 2003 and 2007. Aside from the U.S. and Germany, no other team has won more than 1 Women's World Cup title since the women's tournament began in 1991. And they also set a record for scoring the most cumulative goals in a single tournament with 26 goals. And that's stat according to ESPN. And now they also have the most FIFA Women's World Cup wins. The victory breaks its own record for the most wins in the tournament's history. The U.S. had already won 3 titles in 91, 99, and 2015. Now with this 4th, Germany remains behind with 2. Norway and Japan's women's teams also won the tournament in 1995 and 2011, respectively. So, on behalf of all of us here at Strictly Sports, we send our heartfelt congratulations to the women's national soccer team. A job well done. You made us all proud. Well done. And that's soldiering up, if you know what I mean. So with all that said, let's move on now to the events of this past week in Major League Baseball. Boy, howdy. Started off with what we saw this past Monday night, 2019 Major League Baseball Home Run Derby from Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. And let me tell you this. This past Monday night, we witnessed an absolutely horrific episode of Monday Night Raw. This was far and away better. And it was Pete Alonso of the New York Mets. What had happened was the favorite, who I thought was the favorite, Christian Yelich, he was forced to withdraw from the Home Run Derby due to a back injury. And as a result, Oakland Athletics third baseman Matt Chapman was selected by the league to replace Yelich. And he went up against Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. defeated Matt Chapman by a home run total of 29-13. Josh Peterson of the Los Angeles Dodgers victorious over Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros, 21-16, in what would make good old MF Michael Fletcher very happy, at least for a little bit. His guy, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves, knocking off Josh Bell of the Pittsburgh Pirates, 25-18. And then Pete Alonso defeating the hometown hero, Carlos Santana of the Indians, 14-13. Semifinal matchups, Pete Alonso over Ronald Acuna Jr., 20-19. But what really stole the show on this night was the other semifinal matchup. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays, Josh Peterson of the two-time National League champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Unfreaking real. It took 3 swing-offs, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. finally knocked off Josh Peterson 40-39. That alone made this the greatest home run derby I ever saw. And then it came down to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Pete Alonso in the final. And it was Pete Alonso of the New York Mets, to the delight of our good friend Jason Hixenbaugh, 23-22. I'm just going to say it like this. This was far and away better than that dumpster fire edition of Monday Night Raw this past Monday night. I mean, this was far better. I mean, greatest home run derby I ever saw. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. put on the greatest show you will ever see. He had the longest home run of the night, 488 feet. First derby since the format changed in 2015 to feature tie-breaking rounds. And Pete Alonso, with his 23 home runs in the final round, sets a new record, previously held by Giancarlo Stanton in 2016. And all 8 players combined to hit a total of 312 home runs, the most in the history of the home run derby. Michael Bullock, I mean, how in the world can you follow this? There's no other way we can follow it except by saying this was the greatest home run derby of all time, bar freaking none.
Yeah, oh man, I mean, this was just awesome. I mean, like you said, the greatest home run derby I've ever seen. I mean, especially in the semifinals. I mean, what Vladimir Guerrero and Jock Peterson did was just unreal. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero, like you said, with the new single round record of 29 home runs in the first round, and then they both matched in round 2, and just the tiebreaker. I mean, it was just something that the crowd really was into, and eventually it was Guerrero who basically prevailed in the second swing off by a score of 2-1. So yeah, I mean, but the real story was obviously Pete Alonso. I mean, the rookie. I mean, putting up a really good performance overall to basically win the home run derby. I mean, I'll tell you this, Florio. Pete Alonso may have won it, but Vladimir Guerrero and Jock Peterson stole the show with that semifinal performance. And I'll be quite honest. I mean, I think they should have been named co-champions, as far as I'm concerned, with the way all 3 of them did. So yeah, so congratulations to Pete Alonso for winning the home run derby, but major ups to Jock Peterson and especially Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So there's nothing more to say. Let's move on to the All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a show. That home run derby keeps getting better every year. Stick with this format. Don't change it. Leave it as it is. And that's all there is to say on that. So now we get into the All-Star game. I mean, it's hard to move on to the All-Star game after that epicness, but nonetheless, it was once again to the delight of myself and Bullock because our respective teams come from the American League. The American League wins the All-Star game, 7th consecutive year they do so. 2 hours 48 minutes the time of the game. American League wins it by a score of 4-3. Masahiro Tanaka, my guy from the Yankees, he was the winning pitcher. Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers, the losing pitcher. And Aroldis Chapman, my closer, he saves it. Only 2 home runs. Wow. We got 312 home runs in the home run derby, and in this All-Star game, we only got 2. Boo. Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies and Joey Gallo of the Texas Rangers. They were the ones who hit the home runs there. So small ball got it done for the American League, and Alex Cora was the man. Both World Series managers were the managers. Dave Roberts was the National League manager. Bullock's guy, Alex Cora, the Red Sox, he was the American League manager. And Shane Bieber, Justin Bieber's 5th cousin, was named the MVP of the All-Star game for striking out the side in the 5th inning. Hometown guy to do it. So that's what got it done for them. And Michael Bullock, I mean, to our delight, 7 consecutive All-Star wins for the American League. Your Red Sox, my Yankees. I mean, we may be rivals and stuff, but hey, we're American leaguers, and we stuck it to MF in the National League once again. 7 in a row. Do I hear 8 next year? I hope so.
Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see come next year, but yeah, I mean, only 2 home runs in this year's All-Star game, but after all that, what we saw, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Shane Bieber with the performance to basically get him the excuse me, to get the All-Star game MVP, and yeah, so yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be said when it comes to it. So so I'm just gonna give it to you, Florio.
Yeah. This All-Star game featured stars such as Mike Trout, Christian Yelich, and Gary Sanchez, and Justin Verlander was the starter. And yeah, like I said, with all of us fans hoping to see a replay of Monday's jaw-dropping aerial show of the home run derby, 312 homers, it became a pitcher's paradise, and that's really all it was. And it just makes me very happy. I am an American League guy, and there's nothing more to say on that. I mean, I'm very happy about the win, and quick stuff with the numbers here. The American League has now won 7 in a row and 19 of the last 23 All-Star games, dating back to the previous All-Star game in Cleveland back in '97. The AL had won 5 straight All-Star games from 97 to 2001, and then another 7 in a row after that tie debacle in 2002, for a total of 13 straight All-Star games without a loss. The longest uninterrupted All-Star win streak was 11, accomplished by the National League from 1972 to 82. After a brief 3-game win streak by the NL from 2010 to 12, the American League has not lost since. The American League now leads the all-time All-Star Game series 45 to 43 with 2 ties and holds a combined run score differential of 373 to 370. The Indians' Shane Bieber entered the game in the 5th inning and, pitching in front of his home crowd in Cleveland, struck out Wilson Contreras, Ketel Marte, and Ronald Acuna Jr. in order. First Indian pitcher to strike out the side in an All-Star game since Sam McDowell did it in 1968, but he allowed a hit. Bieber was the MVP for his efforts, joining Sandy Alomar Jr. as the only Indian players to win the award. Fittingly, Alomar did so in 97, the last time Cleveland hosted the All-Star game. Only 4 players younger than Bieber have won the award, according to Elias Sports Bureau. Bieber is 24 years and 39 days old. The other 3, of course, were Roger Clemens, Ken Griffey Jr., and the 2 for Mike Trout. AL pitchers made strikeout history. American League pitchers combined to strike out 16 National League hitters, setting an All-Star game record for the most punchouts by one league in a 9-inning game. Previous high was 15, recorded by National League pitchers in 2015. The all-time single-game team record, regardless of the game length, is 17 strikeouts, set in a pair of 15-inning games. Both AL and NL teams did it in 2008, which to this day is still the greatest All-Star game of all time, and the NL in 1967. Tigers closer Shane Green, who pitched a clean 7th, was the only AL pitcher who did not record a strikeout. Joey Gallo had that home run. He struck Will Smith's pitch with a 111.5 mile an hour exit velocity. Gallo's homer was the first by a Ranger in an All-Star game since Mark Teixeira in 2005, and just the 4th that the Southpaw Smith has allowed to a lefty batter since the start of 2016. Aroldis Chapman entered with a 1-run lead in the 9th and quickly struck out JT Realmuto, Max Muncy, and Yasmani Grandal to finish the victory. The lefty became the first pitcher to strike out at least 3 batters in an All-Star game save since Hall of Famer Bob Gibson in 1965, though that was in a 2-inning appearance. Chapman's first All-Star appearance since 2015 when he pitched for the NL as a member of the Cincinnati Reds. He also struck out the side, joining Fernando Valenzuela in 84 and 86 as the only pitchers to strike out the side in multiple All-Star games. Yankee got the win in the All-Star game and the save. Masahiro Tanaka and Aroldis Chapman, first pair of teammates to pick up the win and a save in an All-Star game since the Seattle Mariners' Freddie Garcia and Kazuhiro Sasaki in 2001, and fittingly, that was a hometown effort because that game was at Safeco Field in Seattle. Chapman, first Yankee pitcher to save an All-Star game since the greatest of all time, Mariano Rivera, who closed out the last of his 4-game Midsummer Classic saves a decade ago in 2009. And Tanaka, the first Yankee pitcher to win an All-Star to pick up the win in an All-Star game since Vic Raschi in 1948. Charlie Blackmon, getting the home run in the 6th inning, breaking an 0-for-8 slump for Blackmon to begin his All-Star game career after going hitless 5 years ago and the last 2 years. Blackmon, who had 16 of his 20 regular season homers in Denver, gave the Rockies All-Star game big flies in back-to-back seasons. Trevor Story went yard last year. Gary Sanchez with that he ripped a 96 mile an hour Walker Buehler fastball to double and get the scoring going. Mike Trout, his All-Star game streak ends. He went 0 for 2. He had a hit in 6 straight All-Star games, one shy of the all-time record of 7, set by Hall of Famers Mickey Mantle, Joe Morgan, and Dave Winfield. His career line at the Midsummer Classic is now 7 of 17 with 2 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, 3 walks. Trout's first All-Star game appearance in which he did not reach base. And you noticed he wore number 45 to pay tribute to his late teammate, Tyler Skaggs, who we got into. but those were just the All-Star game by the numbers. And Michael Brantley doubling to score Alex Bregman made it 1-0. And then Jorge Polanco brought in Gary Sanchez, made it 2-0. And then Blackman with the home run made it 2-1. And then Gallo with the home run there, and then they picked up another run, and that was pretty much it. So a great effort in the All-Star game. It was a lower scoring game, and it was really the Derby. I mean, the Derby was really, really what did it. I mean, yeah, it was Gallo. Gallo had the home run, made it 3-1, and then after that, it was Xander Bogaerts. Yeah, Xander Bogaerts, 6-4-3 double play that scored Matt Chapman, and then the NL made it interesting with a 2-run single by Pete Alonso, and that was it. So not the most exciting game, honestly, but at the same time, when it comes to this year, it's obviously going to be more known for the home run derby, and rightfully so. And that's what did it. So next year, the All-Star game will be in the City of Angels, Los Angeles. It'll be at Dodger Stadium. That's going to be hella fun. I can't wait to see how that turns out next year. So that's that. And now let's move on to the main event of the evening, which is the 2019 ESPY Awards. They were held this past Wednesday night from the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles, California on ABC. Tracy Morgan was the host. And here are the winners in no particular order. Best male athlete, Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks, adding to his NBA MVP award. Best female athlete was Alex Morgan from the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team, rightfully so. Breakthrough athlete, Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants. Best game, Week 11, Los Angeles Rams over the Kansas City Chiefs, 54-51 on Monday Night Football in the Coliseum in Los Angeles, rightfully so. Best play, Caitlin Ohashi with a perfect 10. I got something to say about that in a little bit. Best team, U.S. Women's Soccer Team. I mean, was there really any doubt that they were going to win that? Best college athlete, Zion Williamson from Duke. No big surprise there. Best record-breaking performance, Drew Brees, surpassing Peyton Manning's all-time passing yards record on Monday Night Football. Also surpassing Brett Favre's completion record. Best NFL player was Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs, rightfully so. Best Major League Baseball player, Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers, reigning NL MVP, rightfully so. NBA player that went to the Greek Freak as well, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Best NHL player was Alexander Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. MLS player was Zlatan Ibrahimovic of the LA Galaxy. Best NWSL player, Sam Kerr of the Chicago Red Stars. International men's soccer player, Lionel Messi from Barcelona and Argentina. International women's soccer player was Sam Kerr of Chicago Red Stars. Best WNBA player, Breanna Stewart from the Seattle Storm. Best driver was NASCAR's Kyle Busch. Male golfer was Brooks Koepka. Best female golfer, Brooke Henderson. Best fighter, Canelo Alvarez. Best MMA fighter, Daniel Cormier. Best jockey, Mike Smith. Biggest upset, Andy Ruiz Jr. defeating Anthony Joshua for the heavyweight boxing championship. Best male action sports athlete, Nigel Houston. I best know that young man from his appearance on Ridiculousness. Same here with Chloe Kim, who won the Best Female Action Sports Athlete. Best Male Athlete with a Disability, Mark Barr with a triathlon. Female athlete also went to a triathlon. That was Alyssa Seeley. Best Viral Moment, Caitlin Ohashi's Perfect 10. The brand new award, Best WWE Moment, and it went to Roman Reigns. When Roman Reigns returned from leukemia. Best Bowler was Norm Duke. Best Esports Moment, O'Leary returns to action following Jacksonville Landing shooting. Male tennis player went to Roger Federer. Female tennis player went to Serena Williams. Bill Russell taking home the very prestigious Arthur Ashe Award for Courage. Jim Calhoun was the best coach. St. Louis Blues going from being at the bottom of the NHL standings all the way to the Stanley Cup. That was the best comeback award. Best moment went to 3 winners: Rob Gronkowski, Lindsey Vonn, and Dwayne Wade for their respective careers. The University of Virginia men's athletic teams winning the Capital One Cup, and the Stanford women winning the Capital One Cup. Jimmy V Award for Perseverance went to a high school football coach by the name of Rod Mendez, and Kirstie Ennis taking home another prestigious award, the Pat Tillman Award for Service. And they honored all of the legends who passed away: Niki Lauda, Paul Allen, Gordon Banks, Fernando Clavijo, Jimmy Banks, Willie McCovey, Frank Robinson, Mel Stottlemyre, Don Newcomb, Stan Mikita, Ted Lindsay, Luis Valbuena, Tony Sperano, Jose Castillo, Wade Sims, Tyler Trent, Bill Buckner, Pat Bolin, Gunther Cunningham, Bart Starr, John Havlicek, Jared Lorenzen, Lamb Jones, Tyler Skaggs, Mean Gene Okerlund, and Dan Jenkins. So that's everything that went down at the ESPY Awards. Male athlete, slight disagreement. I think that should have gone to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, no disrespect to the Greek Freak. I mean, he had a career year. Was one of the many reasons, if not the reason, why the Milwaukee Bucks, had that magical season that they did. Going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, had the best record in the league this year. Nobody saw that coming, but nonetheless, I think Mahomes should have won that. Female athlete, I don't have an issue with this. Alex Morgan deserves it, without a doubt. Absolutely deserves it. Breakthrough athlete Saquon Barkley, I'm fine with that as well. Best game, I mean, you couldn't have made an argument for the college football game between Texas A&M and LSU. We talked about it. 74-72 in 7 overtimes. Highest NCAA FBS scoring game in history. And you also could have made an argument for that women's Final Four game between Notre Dame and UConn. But the Rams and the Chiefs, what they did week 11 in the Coliseum, it was originally supposed to be in Mexico City. But because of bad field conditions, they had to move the game to LA. And boy, howdy, it turned out, what a game that turned out to be. So Rams and Chiefs in week 11, that's a game we'll never forget for as long as we live. That's the greatest regular season game far and away. As far as the best play is concerned, I'm sorry, I disagree with this one. No disrespect to the young lady. I really have no. It's not that. It's just that. To me, it was really two. Kawhi Leonard. You remember back on Mother's Day? You remember what he did? That friendly bounce. I mean, that shot alone won the NBA championship for the Toronto Raptors. That's what changed their fortunes, and that's what got them believing. And you also could have made an argument, I'm sorry to say this, Patriot fans, Bullock, that the Miami Miracle. I mean, you could have made an argument for that as well. I'd have been fine with either one of those two. But that perfect 10, I'm sorry, that they got that one wrong. The U.S. women's soccer team winning the best team, no issues there. I mean, obviously you had to go with them. I mean, why the St. Louis Blues were not nominated, that's beyond me. But nonetheless, the U.S. women's soccer team, with what they did, they obviously deserved that one. So no issues there. Zion Williamson, yeah, that was no big surprise. I mean, the biggest threat was really Kyler Murray in Oklahoma winning the Heisman, but what Zion Williamson did this past college basketball season, amazing. Drew Brees with a record-breaking performance, no issues there. Did it on a national stage. That was a fun moment. Patrick Mahomes, NFL player, I'm good with that. Christian Yelich, I'm fine with that. Greek Freak in the NBA, absolutely, he deserved it. NHL player, yeah, I suppose Ovechkin was all right. Don't really care about the soccer player awards. I'm fine with all of it. Breanna Stewart in the WNBA. A little bit of an upset there. I mean, I would have thought Candace Parker, but Breanna Stewart had a great year for Seattle. I don't really follow the racing and the golf and all that. Canelo Alvarez, great boxer, deserved that. MMA fighter Daniel Cormier, I'm fine with that. Mikey Smith, the best jockey. As far as the upset goes, I'm torn. I mean, that boxing moment. I mean, it was the biggest upset since James Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson. You could have made an argument for the Columbus Blue Jackets with that surprising sweep of Tampa Bay after that dominant year Tampa Bay had. Don't really care about the action sports. Roman Reigns winning the WWE moment. I mean, that was a tough one. I mean, you couldn't have made an argument for any of them. The one that I personally would have voted for. I mean, no disrespect to the big dog, but I would have gone with Kofi Kingston. You know, when he had that emotional WWE title win when he beat Daniel Bryan. I mean, that was, the most emotionally charged WrestleMania moment since Daniel Bryan 5 years earlier. We talked about that earlier on the show this year. Federer and Serena winning the tennis players, that's no big surprise. Bill Russell winning the Arthur Ashe Award for Courage. I mean, it's a shame we didn't get to hear from him. I mean, he was sitting in a press box, but I'm glad that he won that. Jim Calhoun, what can you say about him? Bullock and I know everybody thinks of Jim Calhoun. When they think of Jim Calhoun, they always think about, the 3 national championships he won with UConn in 1999, 2004, and 2011. But for me and Bullock, I mean, when we think of Jim Calhoun, only these words come to mind. Get some facts and come back and see me. I mean, come on, Bullock. I mean, how many times have we had fun with that over the years, especially during our chats, I mean...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially when we're watching either Raw or SmackDown, we always like to bring out the get some facts and come back and see me. Right now, the only one that I think we need to hear that more is Shane O'Mac.
That's absolutely right.
But obviously, he wouldn't care.
Hey, that had a WWE tie because Roman Reigns presented him with the awards. So,
how appropriate.
Yeah. So the big dog handed out the award to Jimmy Calhoun. St. Louis Blues. I mean, there really was no other comeback. I mean, the St. Louis Blues at the bottom of the barrel in the NHL standings, right around early February. I mean, they were dead last at the start of the calendar year. Who would have thunk at that moment they would go all the way to win the Stanley Cup? Hollywood couldn't write a better script. Yes, they did have some help, that ridiculous non-call in Game 5. If it wasn't for that, the Boston Bruins would have won that thing going away. So that's all there is to say on that. Gronk, Lindsey Vonn, D. Wade for their respective careers. Highly unusual, but they've all had epic moments. I mean, Gronk with his catches and winning the Patriots winning 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots, and D Wade winning 3 championships of his own with the Miami Heat. Of course, he had help from LeBron with 2 of them, but it is what it is. Lindsey Vonn with her skiing career. Virginia and Stanford with the Capital One Cup. That's great. Rob Mendez, the Jimmy V Award. That was a great story. Same with Kirstie Ennis and the Pat Tillman Awards. So that's really all I can say about the ESPYs. Fun show as always. And I'll be honest, I'm not really into award shows. But there's only 2 award shows that I'm willing to sit down and watch. The ESPYs is one of them. And the other one, of course, being the NFL Honors the night before the Super Bowl. Those are the only 2 award shows that I'll sit through. Any other award shows? No way. I don't waste a second of my time on any of those. So, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on the ESPYs. Let's get a quick thought here. All the winners and Jimmy Calhoun. I mean, that was our favorite moment because we always say that little thing there. So, but agree with the winners. I'm sure there's got to be some disagreements like I had.
No, I think I mostly agree with some of the things that you brought up. I mean, for the best male athlete, I do agree. I think it should have been Patrick Mahomes, especially after the season he put up with 50 touchdowns. No disrespect to the Greek Freak. Especially since he won the NBA's Most Valuable Player award. And best female athlete. I'm good with that one with Alex Morgan. Breakthrough athlete. Saquon Barkley. I'm fine with that too. And the same thing with the best game. Even though I think the real winner should have been that 7 overtime game with Texas A&M and LSU. As far as the best play, I have to think it has to be the Miracle in Miami, as far as I'm concerned. Even the best team, I would have to say the women's soccer team is the right choice. Especially after the way they played in that FIFA Women's World Cup. And the college athlete, I agree with the Zion Williamson. And the record-breaking performance. Drew Brees surpassing Peyton Manning's passing yards and Brett Favre's completion record. I'm good with that. Best NFL player, Patrick Mahomes. Best MLB player, I would say Christian Yelich, even though you could also make the case for Mookie Betts, especially since he won the American League MVP. So, best NBA player, now that's where I say it definitely goes to the Greek Freak. So, I basically agree with everything that you just mentioned, and especially with that WWE moment. I would have loved to see the Kofi Kingston winning the title at WrestleMania was to win it, but I'm fine with the one with the Roman Reigns returning to action after his bout with leukemia. So, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So, Florio, I think we're gonna put a bow on this edition of Strictly Sports.
Indeed we are, and that will indeed put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. Bullet, come on in. Let's get you started on the shout outs, and then we'll set up some very exciting future content coming up.
And of course, I'm saving the special shout out for the end. Of course, you know what I'm talking about, Florio.
I do.
Yeah. Well, first let's get to the shout outs. Of course, special shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or any of our Wrestling Forum shows, Ridiculously Raw or Cerebral Smack Talk.
Of course, to all of our super fans out there, you guys know who you are. To our First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Dee Woodson, and to Kevin Woodson and the rest of the Woodson family, and to all of our friends from high school days, you guys know who you are. To good old MF Michael Fletcher, who couldn't join us tonight. To Derek Ferreira, who does great work on the Sports Kita. If you haven't seen any of his videos, definitely you got to check it out. And of course, all of our local personalities from 6, 10, and 12. All of our personalities from ESPN, Fox Sports, MLB Network, who definitely did a great coverage of All-Star Week. And of course, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, and all the other networks out there. And of course, our friends from the Road Show, of course, former co-hosts Mary Larson and Megan Mooney, and of course, to Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, and of course, the final shout out. I'm pretty sure you all heard about this on Wednesday. Of course, NBC 10 had their 70th anniversary special, and it was announced during that time that by Frank Coletta himself that on July 26th, he's calling it a career. So I just want to say to him and on behalf of all of us here at Strictly Sports, thank you, Frank Coletta, for an unbelievable 41-year career at NBC 10. I mean, you've given us a lot of great memories, a lot of great newscasts that you've done, and of course, he'll always be famous for working on the Sunrise Show, which he's done for so long, and there was no better pairing on the Sunrise Show than with him, and of course, the late great meteorologist at NBC 10, Art Lake. I mean, and then of course with another late great, Salty Brine, during the school coverage. When, of course, as what does Salty Brine would always say? No school, Foster Gloucester. Oh, I still think of that every time. And of course, some of his phrases, including those dastardly computers, and of course, his famous coffee cup salute. So, well, even though I don't have a coffee cup with me, I just want to basically say, I just want to salute you, Frank Coletta, for what you've done for 41 years at NBC 10. And of course, like we always like to say, thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Frank Coletta. And whoever's going to be filling in, who's going to replace him, has got some huge shoes to fill. 41 years of it. So enjoy retirement, Frank. You deserve it, and it's well deserved, my friend. So until Monday night for an all-new edition, or should I say, wait a minute, I actually stand corrected. Until tomorrow night for our 2019 Extreme Rules pay-per-view preview, right back here on the Tone 25. This is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, everybody. And of course, enjoy your Saturday. So, Florio, take us home.
Yes, indeed. Special shouts to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family, one of which celebrated a birthday this week, son Michael. So we wish him a very happy birthday from all of us here. Our insiders, Matt Ward and Jason Hicksonbaugh, our good friend Daniel Luttrell from the UK, the other first ladies around here, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, the crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, Rob Parsons, and of course, Of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us tonight because of commitments beyond his control, and of course Derek Ferreira, not just with the Sports Kita, but putting together the dockets each and every week so that we can bring you all a show each and every Friday night. Especially, when it's the regulation Strictly Sports shows, not counting our college football and NFL shows in the fall and winter. So, but nonetheless, a special shout out to Derek Ferreira. We appreciate all that he does for us. So, tip of the cap to him as well. Our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, our dear friends over at ESPN, FS1, MLB Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, NFL Network. Lizzie McCormick and Stida Sorrell, our good friends from The Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson. Former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And, of course, the legendary Frank Coletta, calling it a career, 41 years. I mean, we've been doing this for over 7. I mean, we got a long way to go if we're going to catch him. But we're going to do our best to do that. So, I mean, like Bullock said, I mean, more than just a trusted and beloved newscaster, he's a decent, honest man, and that's exactly what we want in a newscaster, and that's exactly what I know all of you out there want in us. I mean, not just to be great commentators and whatnot, but to also be decent, honest men, and that's exactly what we strive to be each and every day. And for 41 years, that's what Frank Coletta did for each and every one of us out there. He wanted to give us the absolute best, and he did that each and every day. And Bullock covered everything, but there's one thing that he always did that I enjoyed very much, and that was when he would introduce flashbacks. I mean, I loved the flashback segments. I mean, me being the old school history guy that I am, every time that he would introduce a flashback, I mean, it was always a great moment, and it always brought back some great memories. So that's my special memory of him. So, like Bullock said, to Frank Coletta, thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Frank Coletta, 41 years. Enjoy your retirement, brother. That's all there is to say on that. God bless you and your family. So enjoy it all. And of course, last but not least, my dear friends over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street, Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday mornings around 10:30 or so, the Sunday morning service, and then Wednesday nights at 7, Bible study, other things going on, and that's that. Very exciting future content coming up. Tomorrow night at 11. Bullock and I, along with hopefully MF and Dee Woodson, will be with you to bring you our preview of this weekend's Extreme Rules pay-per-view, joint production of Ridiculously Raw and the Cerebral Smack Talk, and then Sunday night, immediately following the pay-per-view, we'll be over on MF's channel, Brace Bay 95, for our Extreme Rules recap, and then Monday night, right back here on the Zone 25, Ridiculously Raw, immediately following Monday Night Raw, and let the road to the SummerSlam begin. Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun with that. You better believe that. Our overall review of Ridiculously Raw. Pray to God it's a much better show than that horrific show from this past week. And also my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And then, well, actually, I'm not gonna have an Impact Wrestling review because the Impact Wrestling they showed tonight was a very special edition of Impact Wrestling. They talked about they're showing highlights from this past weekend's Slammiversary pay-per-view. So I will not have an Impact Wrestling review on Monday night. I'll only have a 205 Live, but I will have Impact Wrestling spoilers of upcoming. So I will have that. So that's on Monday, and then either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on MF's work schedule, there will be the Cerebral Smack Talk, review SmackDown Live. We'll see if MF has anything in the Mikey's mindset. And then next Friday night, come right back here for another edition of Strictly Sports. The Major League Baseball Power Rankings will be back in. And then we'll see what else Derek has on the docket for us next week. So that's it for this. So until tomorrow night for our Extreme Rules preview, It's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Didi Woodson, Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday. And until tomorrow night at 11 for our Extreme Rules preview, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.